Welcome back to another on-site. What makes this one different is we're currently not working in here right now. I came to do an estimate to look at some materials inside the home, but while I was here I noticed the bluestone as I arrived, and what's beautiful about this scenario is that I'm able to show you what is otherwise difficult to show. In some of the videos I inform you that sealing isn't always the way to go, and if you do go with a sealer, what kind of sealer and why? Well, right here what you see behind me is you see a bluestone that was sealed with some sort of topical. Because of the sheen, when I look at this floor, I look at color, I look at quality of sheen, reflection, and what it's entailing and what it's telling. So let me show you. So as you approach, first thing that you're going to clearly see is you're going to see a box out. You're going to see a frame going around each and every individual tile. In addition to that, not sure if you can see the shine from this direction. Let me turn around. But if you turn around, you can clearly see the sheen that's going across it. That implies to me that this is a polyurethane of some sort. Pro about sealing is that when something falls and something lands on top of this particular type of topical sealer, it does not penetrate through the barrier that's on top to get to the stone. However, we are in an outdoor environment and an outdoor climate where underneath all these tiles, it does get wet. And when things get wet, they want to dry, and how they dry is through the process of evaporation. When it is evaporating, as it is coming up, it wants to evaporate from any open crevice, crack, deterioration of some sort. And in this case, you have the dividing lines, all the grout lines that separate each and every one of these tiles. And as you could see, moisture gets in underneath this entire slab. When it evaporates, it wants to come out, and it comes out by way of these grout lines. That is what causes the framing that you see going around each individual tile. Over here as well, you could see where it's worn off in some areas. You could see also where we have some efflorescence that's occurring coming down from the risers, the limestone risers, down onto the bluestone as well. You can see where the sealer that is placed on here, you could see where it's still intact over here on the bull nose where nobody walks on, and you could see it begins to deteriorate and uncover over here in this area. So when you have a natural stone material that's in the outdoor elements, you want to think about the elements that the outdoors brings, and in this particular case it's evaporation. When you have evaporation, this is what's going to end up occurring. So there's two sides of the coin, as I was communicating with the customers, that there is a pro and there is a con to the way that you see it now. The con is obviously what you see here. Another con to this is that when it peels off irregularly. Another con is that when you want to remove this, it is not easy. This takes a whole lot of time and a whole lot of elbow grease, different materials, and a ton of solutions, going it over and over and over and over again to go ahead and remove it. In addition to that, because of what's needed to remove this, if it makes any kind of contact with the wood, with the trim, anything painted all the way around, it can also remove that. What else can I say? This can lead to cracking. It could lead to peeling. It could lead to a whole lot of other issues that you just don't want to go through. Now, the other option is to use an impregnating sealer. Impregnating sealers are applied topically. They absorb, they penetrate, but they do not seal on the surface, therefore not giving you this topical sheen. And on top of that, they're permeable, which just means it allows it to breathe, allows it to contract and expand, just like anything in the outdoors is supposed to. The con to doing it that way is that now you have no sacrificial layer. Like right now, despite how the layer looks, despite how it acts, there's still some form of sacrificial layer that is in between the elements and the tile itself. Once we remove this and put a true impregnating sealer, there's no more topical layer preventing stains from occurring. In this case now, I don't see, well, there is an empty tree over here. So in this end, I'll use this as a perfect example. In the fall, tree leaves begin to fall. When they fall, they get wet. When they get wet, they emit that green, that orange, that red, that yellow that's being removed from the leaves. I forgot what that's called, but you know what I'm talking about. Once that leaf lands on this tile as is and gets wet, there's rarely a chance of any kind of a color transferring and remaining permanent on the stone itself. But if you replace it with the sealer that you are supposed to have on it, and that does occur, you will then have some form of yellow, red, green kind of staining that emits from that leaf. It may be permanent, it may not be permanent, but it will definitely look natural. So with that said, there's pros and cons to sealing. There's pros and cons to different types of sealers. This is another great example, and a thank you to the customer for allowing me to make this video. Hope this was helpful to all of you. And if you have any other questions, you want to take a look at a project at your home, which way should you go with, you know, yay or nay? Like for example, if this is something that the customer wanted, this was open or this was closed in, and we didn't have any area for any kind of landscaping where moisture can come on, then perhaps I may be in agreement with this. But because of the elements, an impregnating sealer is the way to go. So hopefully we end up getting this project, and if we do, we'll capitalize and make a video on that part of the project as well, so you can see the before, after, and we kind of go in a little bit more detail as the project is going along. But until then, hopefully this snippet was helpful. Have a phenomenal one, guys. Thank you. And just as I was getting ready to leave because I was done, I took a look at their backyard space, see that they have the exact same tile, but it was not treated the same way the front was. And I'd like you to see how this looks so you can have a good look before and after on what one treated one way looks versus the other one treated the other way. So looking at this one right here, you could clearly see that this is void of the framing that you saw in the front piece. You could see it's more matte. You could see the beautiful, beautiful color, but look, you can also see staining. You could see different types of staining. You could see over here in this area where apparently this is probably more of a high trafficked area that goes over here, because you could see the path of the soil as it wraps around. Same thing over here. You can see it's a little topical. But this is natural. So what would an impregnating sealer do? Is it would give you this. So pro and con, one's shiny, one's matte, one absorbs, one doesn't, one peels, one retains water, one doesn't, one allows for evaporation, and this is just a phenomenal opportunity. So let me do a little walk around. I'll show you this one more time, the back, and then I'm gonna head out of here. Just a final look at what type of staining will occur once a topical is removed. And then over here, applied with a topical after moisture took its course. And that is a phenomenal before and after with two different types of sealers. Call us if you need any help.